You, a bird lover, mistook the campus heartthrob's big bird for a pet. Not only did you chase him daily to see his pink bird, but you even brought professional equipment to his house to film it. You even thought he was going to show off a rare species when he untied his bathrobe. However, when the truth was revealed, you found yourself already fallen into his carefully laid bird-watching trap. My brother told me his roommate's bird was big and beautiful. I politely messaged Jason Smith. "Excuse me, may I see your little bird?" He replied at 3 a.m. "Are you sure you want to see it?" "Yes. Also, it's not little." Later I found out we weren't talking about the same kind of bird at all. My brother and I went to the same university. On the weekend, he and his roommate made plans for dinner and brought me along. Before the food arrived, he and Jason went to the restroom. I waited in the private room. Soon after, I heard my brother and them playfully bickering outside. Something about a big bird they raised. Something pink. My eyes lit up. Jason actually kept a bird, and it was pink. I remembered the paper I had to submit for my ornithology elective. The bird I had originally planned to study got sick a few days ago. Now, a new bird had appeared, and I had to seize this opportunity. My brother patted me. "What are you thinking about? Looking so dazed?" "Nothing." I secretly glanced at Jason. The young man was tall and slender, with relaxed brows and eyes, and a clear yet lazy demeanor. I had to admit, he was really handsome. No wonder he beat my brother in the school's campus heartthrob selection. But how could I subtly bring up the bird with Jason? Maybe I should add him on WeChat and ask. If I just asked to see the bird, he surely wouldn't be so stingy and would be willing to show me. Once I get familiar with the bird, I can then push my luck a little and ask to study his little bird. One step at a time. It should be fine. I was racking my brain for a solution, completely oblivious to the fact that I was staring intently at Jason. My brother's face darkened, and he waved his hand in front of me. "What are you smiling at that ugly thing for?" I was startled, and instinctively retorted, "He's very handsome." As soon as I said it, I met Jason's eyes, which held a faint smile. He chuckled and said, "Thank you." I flinched as if burned, turning my face away sharply, but the tips of my ears uncontrollably flushed hot. How embarrassing. What was I even thinking? After that, I kept my head down, just eating and not speaking. It wasn't until near the end that my brother, having drunk too much, went to the restroom again. With my brother gone, this was a golden opportunity. Several times before, when I had eaten with Jason, my brother never let us talk alone. I hesitated for a long time. I glanced at Jason. He had his head down, his long, slender fingers idly tapping his phone. I moved my lips. I didn't know how to start. I pulled my gaze back. My brother was about to return. I cautiously stole another glance at him. I thought I was well hidden. But the next second, I heard Jason's teasing voice. "Had enough looking? Or do you need something from me?" My heart skipped a beat, and I tugged at the corner of my clothes. Never mind. Taking a deep breath, I met his gaze and spoke very quickly. "Senior, can I have your contact information?" He was stunned. I actually do have something to talk to you about." Jason stared at me for a few seconds, then suddenly let out a low chuckle and pushed his phone towards me. "Sure. Add yourself." That's how I got Jason's WeChat. Later that night, lying on my dorm bed, I clicked on his profile picture. It was just a landscape photo. His name was simple, XX. His moments were empty. A bit of a shame. I thought he'd post pictures of little birds. I stared at the chat box for a while. I carefully picked an emoji and sent it. "Hello, JPEG." He quickly replied. "Hello? Just say it directly." Jason seemed quite generous. "He should show me the birds, right?" I politely typed a line. "Excuse me, may I see your little bird?" Jason was silent, then replied a minute later. "What kind of bird?" My eyes lit up. Could Jason have other little birds? The one my brother mentioned, the big, pink one. After I sent the message, there was no reply. The other person was typing for half an hour, still typing. Oh no. He didn't even want to reply to me. I was a little dejected. Was I really too presumptuous? Right. We weren't even friends. Around 11:30, I sent him a few last messages and went to sleep. I'm sorry. I was really too presumptuous just now. Just pretend I never said that. I was a bit desperate. In the middle of the night, I dreamt of Jason's pink little bird pecking at me. After I woke up startled, I found he had sent me messages. 3, 1, Are you joking? Are you sure you want to see? 3:27. Jason patted me on the head and said, "Thank you, Lord, for your grace." 3:30. It's not impossible, but you can't dislike it after you see it. It's not that pink. Also, it's not small. I woke up with a pleasant surprise. I texted him. Really? Thank you. You're such a good person. Rose emoji. I'll definitely cherish the opportunity to see the birds. Could it be a peach-faced lovebird that's not so pink? Just as I was about to ask him what breed it was, Jason replied, You're welcome. Go to bed early. Good night." All right. This time in my dream, Jason's bird didn't peck me, but stood obediently in the palm of my hand. The next day happened to be the weekend. I thought about how my assignment would soon be taken care of. I got up in a good mood. My roommate, while washing her face, asked me, "Isabel, have you found a bird yet? If not, just get one. It might be a bit noisy later, but you'll get used to it. Because I live in a mixed dorm, my other roommates are not animal science majors. If I get a bird, I have to be responsible for it, so I can't keep it in the dormitory like my classmates in the same major." I thanked my roommate for his kindness and shook my head. It's okay. It's settled. Okay, finish a few meat buns. I was worried about how to talk to Jason further about the time and place of birdwatching. Just swiped the poster posted in Jason's circle of friends. There was a basketball game for him today. I clicked on our chat box and sent a message. "I heard you have a basketball game this afternoon." I regretted it as soon as I sent it. He had just posted the promotional poster. This is like going to someone's house, finding them eating, and then asking what they're doing. But Jason quickly replied, "Do you want to come?" "Yes. Can I buy you a drink?" Afraid he would refuse, I quickly followed up. "Just consider it a thank you for letting me see the birds." Little yellow face, grateful heart, JPEG. Jason replied with something irrelevant. "Are you always so direct when you speak?" I was confused. Huh? What did he mean by direct? Should I have asked him if he'd be thirsty this afternoon? Would that have been more subtle? "It's nothing. You come. Text me when you arrive." Me. Okay. Rose emoji. In the afternoon, I went to the supermarket first. I was stumped in front of the cold drink cabinet. Should I get room temperature or cold? Mineral water or sports drink? I took a picture of the water and sent it to Jason. "Do you want a drink or mineral water? Which kind do you like?" He didn't reply, so I just bought one of each, carrying 2 large bags. I rushed to the stadium. When I arrived, I found it was really lively. I had never watched a ball game before. Whenever I had free time during holidays, I would go birdwatching. Remembering Jason's instructions, I texted him that I had arrived. Fearing he still hadn't seen the message, I was about to call him. My gaze was drawn to the figure directly in front of me. Jason was wearing a black and white basketball uniform, his arm muscles well defined, perhaps because he had been running. The fringe of hair on his forehead was a little messy. "Have you been waiting long?" "Sorry, I was just changing and didn't notice the messages." I waved my hands repeatedly. "No worries, I just got here too." Jason took the water from my hand and raised an eyebrow. "You bought so much. Isn't it heavy?" It was actually very heavy. I cursed myself for being so thoughtless as I carried it. My arms aching, but I still smiled. "Not heavy. I didn't know what you liked, so I bought everything. You can give the extra to your teammates." As soon as I finished speaking, Jason picked out a bottle of room temperature electrolyte water and took a sip. "Not for them. I can drink it all." "All right." He led me to where their team's substitute players were sitting. This spot was a bit too conspicuous. Many people were looking at me, and I felt a little awkward. Before Jason left, I whispered to him, "Should I just go to the audience seats?" He retorted, "Aren't you here to watch me play? The view is good here. I can see clearly." I decided not to contradict him for now, although Jason didn't seem like someone who would go back on his word. I had no choice but to focus on the court. Soon after, the game began. Amidst cheers from the crowd, Jason scored 1 goal after another. The opposing team was completely thrashed. The outcome was entirely without suspense. Because he had just come off the court, the stray hairs on Jason's forehead were damp with sweat. Yet, it didn't diminish his sharp demeanor in the slightest. How was it? When I looked up, I met his smiling eyes. I clapped my hands. Very impressive. Everyone was cheering just now. Jason enjoyed it, his smile widening. When he returned after changing, I took advantage of his good mood to quickly ask, When do you have time for me to see your little, big bird? Just then, one of his teammates walked by. Jason covered my mouth and led me to a secluded corner. What's wrong? Is bird watching such a private matter that we need to find a deserted place to talk? He looked serious. This kind of thing can only be discussed with me privately. If it gets out, it won't be good for your reputation. Understood? I was confused, but still nodded. I didn't know if Jason was hot from playing basketball, but his cheeks and earlobes were suspiciously red. His gaze fell on my lips, and he asked somewhat awkwardly, "You really like doing this?" To prove that I was genuinely passionate and had no intention of harming birds, I brought out my painstaking work. I nodded repeatedly and said firmly, "I have a bird-watching notebook. Would you like to see it? I want to include your little bird in my notes too." As soon as the words left my mouth, Jason's face darkened. He gritted his teeth and asked, "Say that again. What kind of notes do you have?" "Bird-watching notes. Black, pink, blue, purple, fat, thin, big, small. I've recorded the forms of all kinds of birds in great detail. There are many bird pictures inside. You can check out my bird photography skills then. This is the fruit of my labor, traveling all over the country." I was so engrossed in my achievements that I didn't notice Jason's expression had already collapsed. I patted his shoulder and asked, "When I see your big bird then, can I take some notes?" "Don't worry. My equipment is professional." Seeing the person in front of me frozen like a statue, I wondered if I was pushing my luck too much. I quietly asked again, "Can I?" Perhaps there was no air conditioning in this corner. Jason seemed even hotter. He looked like a boiled shrimp. He took a deep breath. "Yes, but the photos cannot be shared externally." I didn't expect Jason to care so much about his big bird. No wonder I never saw him bring it out at school. "Of course. I will protect the privacy of all birds." On the way to dinner, Jason suddenly asked, "Have you seen many people's birds?" I answered truthfully, "Yes. Originally, I wanted to record the data of another senior's bird, but his bird got sick. So I can only ask you for help." After hearing my words, his eyes dimmed slightly. "Then once you've seen mine, you're not allowed to see anyone else's." I was so conflicted, but in the end, I agreed. If I can't see others, I can still see wild ones. After dinner, I couldn't wait to see the birds, but Jason said he needed to prepare, to give the little bird a bath. I didn't expect him to be so thoughtful. I was really touched. He was practically the savior of my final paper. I decided to treat him to a month's worth of meals. Jason invited me to his off-campus house. I carried my professional birdwatching lens and knocked on Jason's door. When I saw the person in front of me, my breath inexplicably hitched for half a beat. Jason was wearing a smoke-grey silk bathrobe, the collar loosely open, revealing the lines of his collarbone and the faint outline of his muscles. It was truly a feast for my eyes. I didn't expect Jason to be so unreserved, but right now, I wanted to photograph birds more. "Are you ready?" Jason stepped aside to let me in. I looked around the living room but didn't see any birds. A little confused. "Where are the birds?" As soon as I turned around, I noticed a light pink blush spreading from Jason's ears all the way down his neck. "Do you want to watch them in the living room?" "Let's go to the bedroom. I feel a bit constrained here." His voice was huskier than usual, and the end of his words tightened unconsciously. I was bewildered, unable to understand what he needed to unconstrain. But since I was asking for a favor, I still forced a big smile. "It's okay. Just relax. I won't do anything to your bird." Jason led me into the bedroom and closed the door behind him. I was excitedly looking for the bird. "Your bird is quite well behaved, not making any noise." From behind me, I heard the sound of fabric rustling. I turned around and saw Jason unbuckling his belt. His incredibly sexy physique suddenly came into view. My gaze followed downwards. His 8-pack abs were clearly defined on his waist and abdomen. That waistline, those dimples. My eyes widened, and I shamelessly swallowed. What was he doing? I saw that he was still unbuttoning. I quickly covered my eyes, took a few steps back, and yelled, "Jason, are you crazy? Why are you inexplicably taking off your clothes?" He looked a little confused and stopped what he was doing. "Didn't you want to see? Are you regretting it now?" "It's too late." He grabbed my wrist, pulling my hand away from my eyes. I squinted tightly. "Who wants to see you?" I want to see the bird. Let go of me. What you're doing is illegal." I was so anxious I was about to cry. My wrist still hurt a little. I didn't open my eyes, so I didn't know what Jason was doing now. The room was very quiet, but his warm breath still lingered around me. A few minutes felt as long as a century. I heard him ask in despair, "The bird you want to see, is it an animal? Otherwise, could it be human?" A sudden thought struck me. Another possibility. This would explain Jason's behavior just now. I opened my eyes in disbelief. "You don't have a bird?" Jason also slumped his head in despair. "No. Then the bird my brother mentioned is." Both our gazes fell simultaneously on Time's part of him. Instantly, I turned my back to Jason, trying to calm my breathing. I couldn't handle it. So awkward, so hopeless, so suffocating. I remembered Jason asking me twice that day if it was the bird my brother mentioned, and I had confidently nodded. With such an unreasonable request, why on earth did Jason agree to me? I've been going on and on about bird, bird, these past 2 days. Wouldn't he think I was crazy? A moment later, we sat on the big bed in the bedroom, heads bowed. Jason had already put on his bathrobe, now wrapped even tighter than a mummy. Our body temperatures were both high, like 2 furnaces gathered together. I finished explaining that I needed to research birds for my final paper. Then it was Jason's turn to explain. I was shocked after hearing him. "You thought I looked desperate, really wanted to see, and were afraid I'd go looking for someone else outside, so you decided to sacrifice yourself." He added. "After all, you're Tony's sister, and your brother and I are good friends. I can't let his sister go astray." I gave an awkward laugh. "Haha, well, thank you very much. How can someone be so kind?" In the end, we decided to drink to forget about it, one drink after another. 3 in the morning. I held Jason's head, and he held mine. We looked at each other. "Did you forget?" We both nodded simultaneously. Then we leaned back on the sofa and fell asleep. Actually, I couldn't forget Jason's physique at all. I even had a dream about it. In the dream, he forcefully pulled my hand to touch his abs, the distinct ridges, so real. In a daze, I felt my body lift into the air, being carried and placed onto a soft surface. All around me was that faint scent of Jason. I woke up the next day. As soon as I opened my eyes, I saw Jason lying in front of me. He was curled up, burying his face in the crook of his arm, with only his black hair visible. I was sleeping on the sofa, covered by an air-conditioning blanket. While I was still a bit dazed, the phone on the coffee table rang. Jason covered his ears and then casually picked it up. My brother's nagging, concerned voice came through. "You didn't come back to the dorm last night. Where did you go? Why didn't you tell me? If your roommate hadn't come to ask me, would you have?" It was too late when I rushed over to stop him. Jason impatiently clicked his tongue. "Tony, are you crazy? Why do you care if I go back to the dorm or not?" "Don't make a fuss. I want to keep sleeping." I quickly covered Jason's mouth and snatched the phone. My brother's deafening voice rang out. "Jason, why do you have my sister's phone?" Jason was completely woken up by the shout, and seeing my terrified expression, he was confused. I quickly pretended to be wide awake and said loudly, "What's wrong, brother? I just went to the restroom." Senior Jason's new phone is the same as mine, and he thought it was his call, so he answered it. My brother didn't believe me. "Then where were you last night? Why are you with him so early in the morning?" I felt a little guilty and started making things up. I was birdwatching too late and missed the dorm curfew, so I slept in a hotel for one night. Senior Jason and I ran into each other at breakfast. You know, that dim sum restaurant is so popular, we just happened to share a table. My brother was half convinced and told me to come back early. Jason is really kind. After I went back to school, to help me cover up my lie, he not only actually went to that dim sum restaurant, but also bought the same phone as mine. Even the case was identical. On Monday, I had an 8 a.m. class, and I was so sleepy that I found a corner seat to secretly catch some sleep. The teacher on stage was passionately recounting his life of being chased by animals. He was talking about his daily life in Africa with the twin lion cubs. I was nodding off, about to hit the desk. Suddenly, a soft hand cushioned the desk, and my forehead landed right in his palm. I woke up with a start. I couldn't believe my luck. I'd been meeting so many kind people lately. When I turned my head to say thank you, I thought I was seeing things. "How was it, Jason?" He gestured for me to look at his phone. It showed a message he had sent. "Did you hurt your forehead?" I shook my head and typed back. "Aren't you from the School of Management?" Why are you in our department? Jason replied. Curiosity. So I came to audit a class. I realized this person was not only kind, but also studious. This was an 8 a.m. class. If I didn't have class, I would definitely be out embracing nature, not staying at school. Jason listened attentively and even took notes. A ray of sunlight fell on the side of his face. His neckline was smooth, his nose high, his lips thin, and his eyelashes long and curled. When I see something beautiful, I can't help but want to photograph it and keep it. Is this the charm of a higher animal? But that would be too presumptuous. So I admired him for a while and then held back. After class, Jason even asked me for help with some questions. After I answered, he paused and said, I want to get a bird. Do you have any recommendations? My eyes lit up. Seeing my reaction, Jason chuckled softly. You haven't solved your homework problem yet. Why don't we go pick one after dinner? It just so happens that I'm about to move out of the dorm, and I also want to get a small pet to keep me company. Of course, I was more than happy to agree, repeatedly saying, no problem, no problem. I'll take care of it. My luck has really been getting better lately. Someone always brings a pillow when I'm sleepy. After our classes in the afternoon, we went to a pet store outside of school. When I got there, I felt like I was home. These little parakeets are so cute. We had originally set our sights on that beautiful lovebird, but the purple pearl budgie across from it was staring at us with longing eyes. Jason and I became interested and squatted in front of its cage. To my surprise, the bird suddenly spoke, startling me. Mum, Dad, adopt me, adopt me. Jason found it amazing and looked at me for my opinion. The bird called out to me even more enthusiastically. Mummy, love you. Mum, coo, 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 kissy, 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 kissy. With Jason beside me, my face turned red from what I heard, and I really wanted to cover the parrot's mouth. The breeder saw this, took it out, and the little parakeet's claws stood steadily in my palm. When Jason stroked its head, it obediently lowered its head and squinted its eyes, looking very content. I just moved slightly, and it flew up and pressed against my neck, rubbing its head against me. It started yelling, Mom! Mom! Want me! Want me! Jason grabbed it back into his palm and poked its body. You're quite clever. Noisy and cute. We couldn't do anything about it, so we ended up buying it. After completing the paperwork, we bought a bunch of bird supplies. As I was playing with the bird in the car, I remembered I hadn't named it yet. Jason, what's your son's name? He was focused on driving and suddenly blurted out, whatever Mum wants to call him. I coughed a few times. How strange. I became a mother at zero cost. Jason really did leave the naming to me. I turned the parrot around a few times and asked, Little one, what do you want to be called? I'll say a few, and you pick, okay? Neo Neo, Dong Dong, Pippi, Xiao Xiao, Zhuang Zhuang, Huzi, Rang Rang. I rattled off a bunch, and the little parrot pecked my fingertip, then lifted its paw. Zhuang Zhuang, Da Zhuang, I'm Da Zhuang. I couldn't stop laughing. How about we change it? This one doesn't quite fit your little character, but it had clearly fallen in love with that name at first sight and started yelling in the car. I'm Da Zhuang. I'm Da Zhuang the bird. Jason couldn't help but laugh and even scolded it. Silly bird. It flew over to distract Jason from driving. This wouldn't do. I didn't want any traffic accidents, so I quickly held it down. Jason reprimanded it. Da Zhuang, settle down. Unexpectedly, this silly bird was quite obedient. When we got to Jason's house, we spent half the day making a little birdhouse for it. It stood on Jason's shoulder and said, Dad, hungry. Mum, hungry. Jason put it on the other side. Okay, wait. I'll feed you after I finish this nest. Your parents wouldn't let you starve, would they? He seemed to accept the role of dad very quickly, but I was still a bit hesitant. Every time he said it, my face would flush. For the next while, I kept going to Jason's house with my birdwatching notes and equipment. One day, I wanted to get a few feathers from Da Zhuang to take back to the lab for research. But it turned its head away, not letting me touch it. I won't be a bald bird. I won't be an ugly bird. I coaxed it with bird food. Zhuang Zhuang, be good. Mummy will just pluck a few. It won't be ugly. You're the most beautiful little bird in the world. After a few more coaxes, Da Zhuang finally turned its fluffiest spot towards me. Still a little parrot with a tough exterior and a soft heart. I pinched its feather shaft. Beautiful zwang zwang. Time to pluck some feathers. It immediately cooed comfortably. By the time Jason came out of the kitchen, apron still on, having just finished cooking, I was done. He told me to wash my hands and eat. Looking at those home-cooked dishes and the man waiting by my side, it really felt like a family. I suppressed the strange feeling in my heart and ate. I have to say, Jason's cooking is absolutely superb. Every time I came, I felt really embarrassed to freeload, but I really wanted to eat it. After a few attempts at being reserved, I took one bite and couldn't refuse anymore. This was too delicious for someone like me who eats takeout and cafeteria food every day. After eating, I sat cross-legged right there in front of the birdhouse. I recorded Dazhuang's weight changes for the day, and then took some beautiful photos of him. Dazhuang was very cooperative. After a few shots, he even started posing. Jason also sat down beside me, curious. "This is that bird-watching notebook you told me about last time," I said, opening it and showing him the contents. Jason pointed, and I explained. "This is a red-headed tit. It wasn't easy. I went several times and didn't see it, but luckily I finally got a shot." He flipped through the pages, one by one. The locations recorded ranged from south to north, and the time span covered several years. I slowly introduced them. This one is a long-tailed tit. This is a golden pheasant, a pond heron, a grey magpie. Aren't they all especially beautiful? Jason's fingertip landed on the Q version drawings next to the little birds. He stared at the chubby little bird and smiled. "You drew these?" My drawing skills are a bit abstract, and I nodded a little shyly. "They're very cute." I heard him, and my eyes curved into a smile. I was a little happy. I answered everything he asked, wishing I could pull Jason into our birdwatching family too. He then asked me, "Did you go by yourself?" I shook my head. "With some friends, and also with my brother." He closed the notebook. "Next time, I'll go with you." "Huh?" "I want to see them too." I didn't expect Jason to actually be interested. As I smiled, about to agree, my eyes met his. His beautiful eyes held a mix of emotions. It was then I realized how close we were. I froze for a few seconds, then nodded. Suddenly, Dazhuang popped out of the birdhouse. "Mwah, kiss, kiss." I wanted to cover its beak, but it started flying all over the room, chirping. "They're gonna kiss. They're gonna kiss." After I caught Dazhuang, I kissed its face a few times. I lectured it. "Don't talk nonsense." Dazhuang quieted down and offered its birdie face, so I kissed it a few more times. But Jason, standing by, looked at Dazhuang with a hint of resentment. Dazhuang quickly retreated into the house. "It's none of the bird's business. None of the bird's business." As I was packing up to leave, I noticed Jason while playing. Also kissed Dazhuang. That very spot. I had just kissed several times. The more I saw, the more alarmed I became. Finally, with a flushed face, Jason walked me back to the dorm. "Don't mind that silly bird." He even thoughtfully told me, when I was having dinner with my brother and couldn't go see Jason, he would send me videos of Dazhuang. I couldn't help but laugh at the newly sent video of Dazhuang pooping in front of him. Jason also sent a voice message. "Isabel, look at this silly bird, provoking me, pooping everywhere. If you weren't here, it wouldn't listen to me." I transcribed it. In WeChat, I also sent Jason angry and wronged emojis. I could imagine Jason's voice without even hearing it. A little cute. Suppressing a laugh, I sent him a cheering emoji. My brother suspiciously leaned over. "I've noticed you've been staring at your phone and smiling a lot lately. And you don't want to eat with me. Confess and be lenient. Resist and be strict." Startled, I immediately turned off the screen and fake smiled. "My best friend shared a funny video with me." "Why are you so suspicious, bro?" His friend next to him guessed. "Could your sister be in love?" My brother immediately retorted. "How could that be? With all those duds at our school? How could Isabel be interested? My sister only likes animals." I smiled helplessly. My brother has always had a big filter when it comes to me since we were kids, thinking that any man who approaches me likes me and has ulterior motives. His friend suddenly seemed to remember something and continued. "But I've seen these symptoms in Jason too. He'll just inexplicably stare at his phone and smile during class. And lately, he's been so engrossed with that bird that he won't come out to play basketball or have dinner with us. Like he's possessed. The other day I tried to kiss that bird, and he almost pushed my mouth away. I was happily listening with my ears perked up, but my brother's gaze at me had already changed. I quickly resumed my fake smile. That evening in the dorm, Jason video called me. He gently began to explain. Dazhuang is very noisy. Probably misses you. So I video called you. Are you going to sleep? I was puzzled. In the phone frame, there was only Jason's face. No sign of Dazhuang the bird. Where's Zhuang? As soon as he finished speaking, Jason flipped the camera. Dazhuang was so engrossed in eating his late-night snack that he almost forgot himself. He cleverly caught sight of the camera and flew over. Mom! 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 I was laughing at first, but when he shouted at Jason, Want to call wife! Want to call wife! I couldn't laugh anymore. My face turned crimson. Why does this bird always learn such random things? How did that shop owner train it? Jason's ears also gradually turned red, and he patted Dazhuang. Silly bird! After chatting for a while, I couldn't help but want to take a screenshot of the scene on my phone. Dazhuang was standing on Jason's shoulder, beak closed, with a resentful look on his face. This scene was too lovely, but my sneaky actions were still discovered by Jason. Are you taking a screenshot? I quickly explained guiltily. Dazhuang is so cute right now. Jason lowered his gaze, wondering what he was thinking. But Dazhuang became cheerful again. Jealous of Dazhuang. Jealous of Dazhuang. After saying that, he was locked up by Jason. I heard an off-screen voice from over there. Shut up. If you talk nonsense again, you won't get any food. Before falling asleep, I scrolled through Jason's WeChat moments. It was a photo of Zhuang sleeping. As cute as someone. After liking it, I tossed and turned, unable to sleep. My heart was in turmoil. Days passed like this. In a blink of an eye, it was the end of the semester. The ornithology elective also went smoothly. When winter break came, I went home with my brother. I was a little reluctant when I last went to see Zhuang. We were several provinces apart, and the next time we'd meet would be when school started. I gave the bird's face a few big kisses. Mommy will come back to see you in a month. I really missed Zhuang. I noticed that besides the bird, Jason was also staring at me. His eyes gleamed with dissatisfaction, and he slowly asked, Is it only him you'll miss? I glanced at Zhuang, then met Jason's gaze. Finally, I quickly said, You too, and ran off. Before closing the door, I could still hear Jason's chuckle, and Zhuang struggling to shout, Don't kiss the bird. But I realized that day I said goodbye. It would be a month later, and I was wrong. After I went back, Jason called me on video every day. It was like I was virtually raising a pet. On New Year's Eve, my brother and I went out to set off fireworks. It was almost 11 when he dropped me home before going to drink with his brothers. That night, Jason called me with a voice call. His voice sounded ethereal, as if he was outside. Zhuang misses you again. I hummed in response. Me too. How about we video call? Let me see him. Actually, I also wanted to see Jason, but there was a moment of silence on his end, then his tone lifted. Then, look downstairs. I was startled. I rushed out to the balcony and saw a man and a bird. How did you get here? Jason coughed. I wanted to see you, so I came. I instantly forgot how to breathe, my heart beating faster and faster. Then wait for me downstairs. Okay, no rush. I've been here. Jason was wearing a black wool coat, and his hands, holding the bird, were a little red from the cold. I noticed from upstairs that he wasn't wearing a scarf, so I gave him the new scarf I'd borrowed from my brother. You should put it on first. Or do you want to come in and sit for a bit? Jason gestured that both his hands were full. I immediately understood, suppressing my wildly beating heart. I moved closer to him, stood on tiptoe slightly, and wrapped the scarf around his neck, circle after circle. Jason handed me the large gift box in his right hand. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. I felt a little ashamed. Thank you. But I didn't prepare anything for you. His voice drifted from the night. Seeing you is enough. Jason's sudden directness was a bit much for me. My heart started pounding again. Want to open it? I diverted my attention, placing the box on a roadside bench to open. In the darkness, Isabel's tiny lights glowed inside the box. After taking out the gift, I was stunned. Inside was a miniature world. Mountains, lakes, tall buildings, flying birds. I clearly saw the birds inside. They were all the ones I had shown Jason before, their postures as they flew towards the sky. I stared for a long time, unable to speak. Finally, I broke the mood by asking, "Did you steal my notebook? How do you remember the bird species so clearly?" Jason laughed at my question. "Do you like it?" I nodded repeatedly, touching the bird models inside. It wasn't until Zhuang grumbled discontentedly that I packed up the gift. We decided to go for a walk outside before midnight. Jason said he was worried Zhuang would be cold, so he put him in my room first. Jason and I ended up walking further and further off the main path, eventually reaching a small pedestrian walkway. Midnight, fireworks, far from the noisy crowds. This atmosphere was truly perfect for something romantic. I mustered up my courage and turned to the side, only to hear the words already being spoken. "Isabel, Happy New Year. And I like you." Jason's voice still echoed in my ears. I finally understood what it felt like to have butterflies in my stomach. "Will you be my girlfriend?" I nodded shyly. As I was wondering what to do next, Jason already pulled me into a hug. I snuggled into his warm embrace, hearing his heart pounding just as wildly as mine. "When did you start liking me?" He ruffled my hair. "Your brother took me to help you move your luggage, and then you handed me a bottle of water." I was stunned. "So, it was love at first sight for you?" I suddenly realized Jason really liked drinking water. I wondered if he had finished those 2 big bags I bought last time. I said, dissatisfied. "So, if anyone gives you a bottle of water, you'll give them your heart?" Jason didn't say anything, just lowered his head and kissed me. Although the kiss was still gentle, I was a little unaccustomed to it and couldn't help but pull back. He then raised his hand to cup the back of my head, and his lips met mine again. From shallow to deep, he slowly guided me. I was completely weak from the kissing, before Jason finally let me go. He wrapped his arms around my waist and buried his face in my neck, laughing. "I only like the water you hand me." Jason had booked a hotel nearby, so he took me home first. As we walked hand in hand along the path back to my house, I was completely immersed in our new relationship. By the time I saw my brother standing at the front door with his bird, his face grim, it was already too late. That stinky Zhuang betrayed us the moment he was born. "Dad! Mom! Kisses! Kisses!" I subconsciously tried to let go of Jason's hand, but he held it even tighter. My brother's face contorted. "I don't agree." "Jason, I treated you like a brother, and you secretly pursued my sister. When did you two get together behind my back?" He broke down. "I tried to guard against everything, but I couldn't guard against a thief in the family." But Jason smiled when he heard the word family, and very obediently called my brother. "Brother, it's better to tear down 10 temples than to ruin one marriage. And Isabel and I are in love." My brother kicked both Jason and Zhuang out. "Get out of here with that stinky bird." With a bang, only my brother and I were left, looking at each other. I poured my brother a cup of hot milk. "Brother, calm down." He got even angrier. "You didn't secretly add sleeping pills to my drink to put me to sleep, and then run off to find that stinky kid, did you?" I raised my finger and swore. "Absolutely not. I just didn't want your stomach to feel uncomfortable after drinking." I massaged his back again. "Brother, drink some quickly." He took a deep breath and chugged it down. "I will not agree." The next day, Jason came over and was sent away. He was still sent away on the 3rd day, the 4th, 5th, 6th day. It wasn't until the 7th day that my brother, with a sour face, let both the person and the bird in. As soon as he entered, Jason very sensibly ran off to make lunch. After a day of busying himself with who knows what at my house, my brother finally started to look at him favorably. He said he reluctantly accepted. I smiled happily at my brother. "Brother, you're the best." Jason also learned from me and smiled happily at my brother. "Brother, you're the best." My brother couldn't stand his smile, and once again, kicked Jason out. "Get out! Who's your brother?" "Don't go around claiming kinship." I heard them talking outside. "If you ever treat Isabel badly, even if you're my brother, I'll still beat you to death." One night after graduation, someone was being clingy again. I pushed Jason away. "Jason, you're really annoying. All that gentleness you usually show is just an act." He's practically inhuman when it comes to this kind of thing. Jason leaned in and gently kissed my lips. His warm breath brushed against my ear. "Then how about I go easy and we do it one more time?" I was firm. No, absolutely not. You tricked me like that just now, too. Unexpectedly, Zhuang Zhuang was eavesdropping, flapping his wings at the door and shouting, "One more time, okay? This silly bird, I want to sell it right now." While I was distracted, my hand was seized again.